So about 10 years ago, I probably got some of the most gut-wrenching news in my life. My father took my sister and I into our parents' bedroom, and he sat us down and he told us that he was leaving. I didn't know when he was coming back. I didn't know when I would see him again. As he left out the door with this brown duffel bag, I couldn't help but think, when would be the next time I was going to talk to my dad? But today, I'm going to talk about why my parents' divorce is actually one of the best things that ever happened to me. Which, I know what you're thinking, probably sound like an awful, crappy daughter, but don't worry, it's not that awful. Okay, so after my parents split, I guess you could say my mom went a little crazy. When they were married, she was the strict parent. When my dad left, everything changed. The night he left, my mom packed my sister and I up into a car. She drove us to Waco, and we stayed in a hotel. We went to the movies, we went bowling, we ate candy out of the hotel vending machine for dinner, which was pretty off the wall. We went from having strict bedtimes and tons of chores to dyeing our hair crazy colors and running to Dairy Queen at midnight for ice cream runs, or watching Netflix while eating dinner in the living room, which was definitely not something we were used to. And I personally would not have it any other way, because that summer is the summer that everything changed. My mom booked our first trip, and for once it did not involve driving to the same moldy old cabin in Colorado year after year, which was my dad's favorite. We were going on a cruise. It was a 5-day cruise to Mexico, and when we got off at the port, we swam with dolphins, we got henna tattoos, and we went to the local market. That was one of my favorites, because when we would go to the market, all of the people would try to rip us off and hustle us, but they had no clue my mom was a Spanish teacher. So this little white lady would start babbling off a bunch of Spanish, and they would just look at us like, and just be completely baffled. And this is really where my love of travel actually started. From the deck of a cruise ship to the white sands of Costa Rica and the highest mountaintops. And by far, Costa Rica would have to be one of my favorite places I've been. In the summer of 2013, we flew into the capital of San Jose. When you got off the plane, you looked like you had just jumped into a swimming pool. It was miserably hot, it was humid, and you were just sweating all over the place. The hotel we stayed in left much to be desired. And at night when we would walk down these streets, we would be catcalled by the men and by people saying things like, "Hola, gringa," and stuff like that. So needless to say, we were not allowed to go out at night by ourselves. The next morning, we would take a taxi, a bus, and an airboat all to the little island of Tortuguero, where we would stay in these little thatch roof huts with no air conditioning, and at night we would walk out to the beaches to watch the baby sea turtles make their way to the ocean for their very first swim ever. The next morning, we would hop on a tiny plane, probably about as big as this front row desk. It was a 6-seater, maybe even smaller, and my mother's friend and I, we would definitely say some choice words when we hit turbulence. Travel is one of my biggest passions, and it's really carried over not only from just my life, but even into my boyfriend's life. Before we started dating, his idea of adventurous was like changing up his restaurant or wearing a different deodorant for the day. But today we hike as much as we can, we take crazy trips, try to push each other out of our comfort zones. And it's kind of dorky, but our major goal is, by the time we're old and decrepit, is to have climbed the highest point in all 50 states. And when I tell people that, they always laugh and say, like, good luck with Alaska. But divorce was never easy, but I wouldn't change it. If we hadn't gone on that first cruise, I don't know who I'd be today or what kind of sheltered person I would be. My mom is now one of the most adventurous people that I know, and even though my sister and I continuously joke that she used to have a stick up her butt, she is honestly one of the strongest people, and she's always trying new things out, and I want to be just like her. After all, she's the reason why one day I will scuba dive the Great Reef, I will hike the Grand Canyon rim to rim to rim, and hopefully ride on the back of an elephant.